On the Fringe with Dan Radio Style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. Major stuff going on, like all over the place. We got a lot of really good news to cover, a lot of video to cover. Trump even talking about Stephen Miller likely going to be the NSA. This dude's no holds barred. He is hardcore, and I think it's going to be pretty amazing when he's put into that place. Again, we'll see. A lot to talk about. I want to start off with a couple freaking hilarious things, and then one sort of, I think what was the third one was. So I don't know. We'll get to it. Let's start with the hilarious stuff because a couple of these cracked me up a bunch, and I had to share it, and I like starting here because it makes it more fun. This guy is extraordinarily talented. Wanted to give him a huge call out. Don't know what his name is, but he's super good. Check him out.
America believes that they can take out the cartels, but they don't realize how big and powerful we have become. The cartels are not to be trifled with. F around and find out, America. I'm gonna stop you right there, okay? Because I don't think you realize how big the U.S. military is, okay? You know that America has the biggest Air Force, right? We also have the second biggest Air Force in the Navy. But the cartels are also heavily armed. We spend more money on the military than the next 11 countries combined. But we don't have your standard operating procedures. We don't have your morals to abide by. We don't have to play your game. Morals? Have you seen the orange guy in the suit? It's not the old guy anymore. Have you seen the new guy? Oh crap, that's a good point. I mean, our soldiers are trained by special forces from all over around the world. That we trained and funded. What are you not getting here? You underestimate our extensive underground networks. We can be anywhere whenever we want. We can place a Burger King in any location on the planet within 48 hours. We have triple stuffed Oreos. Do you realize how frightening that capability is?
Not to mention, it's an Asian fella that's doing a Hispanic accent and an American accent. What? I know, crazy. I love this next one. Again, it's another Asian video. I can't help myself. It's not that I got into a weird place or anything. I'm not calling for help. It was just so damn funny, and then she was super cute on top of all that. But and it was actually posted on a site of a chick that's gay. Tori says, I believe she's gay. I think she is. I think she's on a vacation with her. She keeps calling her like Miguel or something like that, but every time I see a picture of anyone that she's with and holding, it seems to be another girl. So I don't know, whatever. Neither here nor there. But it was funny as hell, nonetheless. Check this out. This is awesome.
What is this called?
Gay.
Pay.
Oh, pay.
What is this called?
Gay.
Yes. What is this called?
Gay.
Hey.
Oh,
What is this called?
gay.
Lay.
Oh, lay.
What is this called?
Gay.
Bay.
Bay.
What is this called?
Gay.
Way.
Oh, way.
What is this called?
Gay.
Ray.
Ray.
What is this called?
Gay.
Say.
Say.
I'm sorry. I'm one of these days I'll maybe grow up. It's doubtful. Yeah, this was just weird. That's right. Have you ever seen ball lightning before? This is actually the first time in my life I've ever seen it. That, or it's a UFO. People have talked about ball lightning. I've heard of it traveling down power lines. I've never ever seen a picture of it, and I've certainly never even heard stories about what we're gonna see with our own eyes. This is crazy. Check this out.
Fucking making.
Hey, videotape that shit.
Dude, that shit is just
That's
rolling.
a fucking video. Aliens.
It's an orb. We got an orb on video right now. A fucking orb. Unedited. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. It's on the surface of the water. It's on the surface of the water. It's just skimming across the water right now. It's not above the water, it's on. Oh!
Yeah, that, first off, I feel like getting closer to it's probably not a good idea, but I don't know what you guys think. It looks like it could be ball lightning or an orb, but, yeah, it's got very, very trippy, whatever the hell it is. A ball of plasma, one might say, even, who knows. All right, let's get into it. Got a lot to talk about and a lot of video, like I said. Rebuild and open Alcatraz is what Trump truthed out. For too long, America has been plagued by vicious, violent, and repeat criminal offenders, the dregs of society who will never contribute anything other than the misery and suffering. When we were a more serious nation in times past, we did not hesitate to lock up the most dangerous criminals and keep them far away from everyone they could do no harm. That's the way it's supposed to be. No longer will we tolerate these serial offenders who spread filth, bloodshed, and mayhem on our streets. That is why today I am directing the Bureau of Prisons, together with the Department of Justice, FBI, and Homeland Security, to reopen a substantially enlarged and rebuilt Alcatraz to house America's most ruthless and violent offenders. We will no longer be held hostage to criminals, thugs, and judges who are afraid to do their job and allow us to remove criminals who came into our country illegally. The reopening of Alcatraz will serve as a symbol of law, order, and justice. We will make America great again. What's really fun about this is Alcatraz is actual federal land in the middle of San Francisco, right in the middle of San Francisco, where it's a sanctuary city. So what are we going to do? We're going to load up a prison with some of the worst criminal offenders on the planet, and we're going to shove them right in the middle of that sanctuary city. And that way, if they can swim, then, whoops, sorry, sanctuary people. At least that's what you would have done anyways, to put them back on the street. So, quite the mess. People are talking about this particular post, and I just want to once again comment on how much it bothers me when some people go a little too far with the Q post. This is a perfect example. Q post 740 came out 2018, just to give some context, February 11th, if you care. And it talks about, they're talking about Gitmo, how full Gitmo's going to be. And they say max cap, one other prison being prepped. And everybody thinks that has to do with Alcatraz, right? I don't know. I'm just going to point this one out. Maybe I'm wrong. It's possible. The Terrorism Confinement Center, or that CCOT in El Salvador, that was built in late 2022. What happened there? Oh, well, some of the world's worst are ending up there, much like Guantanamo. More likely, this was the one other, because 2018, we didn't even know about this prison yet. Not at all. So again, Q-posts, I don't know. Some people don't bother to do a little bit of extra research, maybe. I don't know. Okay, whole lot of stuff with Trump. He's dismissing the third term thing. We've talked about it. I'm going to go ahead and play it one more time. But I do want to ask, this is just the one little kind of weirdity thing that I wanted to check with. I wanted to ask how many people believed when this story first came out, the 28 hats and all that Trump was going to run again, right? He's going to run for a third term. I want to know how many of you guys, I mean, you don't have to tell me, but how many of you actually thought that was true? Actually thought that's what was going to happen. And then, I'd kind of ask why, just as a fun little, like, know thyself moment. And then after he's come out and said that he's not interested in doing a third term, talks about how it probably wouldn't necessarily even be legal, but he goes, I'd hope to not have to. I don't think we need to, and I think it's better that I not. How many still believed he's going to run again, or believe? It's kind of a fun question because it really does kind of go to confirmation biases. It goes to what we want to happen. And then again, I ask the question, why? Why do we want Trump so badly to be the guy that runs again? When you think about how much of his life he's given to this country in service that really didn't get anything back other than grief, heartache, and just a horrible time, hasn't been able to make money, and yet many of us want him to run another 4 years. Why? In most cases, because one, we don't believe that we have the ability to do this any other way. That's very sad, and I don't mean that you're a sad person. I just mean it's very sad that we don't, in your mind at least, have anyone else that could potentially rise to the occasion. We would rather sacrifice an individual's entirety of his last 20 years of his life so we can have a good country. I mean, again, that's a lot to ask of somebody, one individual. And then I honestly think it implies to a lot of people that feel this way that maybe we're not necessarily doing enough ourselves as individuals, right? Maybe you get a lot of posts and you're taking in a lot of information and you comment on some of them. Maybe what I would recommend is, okay, every day I want you to find a story or something, or find something that wasn't in Twitter and share it there, right? Or come up with a thought of your own and share it there, rather than just constantly resharing and liking and thinking that we're making a difference in the world, when in reality we're not necessarily producing anything. Just something to keep in mind on. Because I honestly think every one of you, counting myself, are here to do something, to be a part of this. Not just enjoying the movie, because that's not my audience. My audience is helping at the theater where the movie's playing. That's where my audience is at. I'm a teacher of teachers. We are running the show on the outside. We're handling parking. We're handling entertainment. We're handling walking around, make sure nobody trips and falls, making sure restrooms are clean. Got to make sure they can get fed. We're handling the whole shebang. That's what we're here to do. So if for some reason you feel like Trump is needed to still run, then I would suggest maybe you might be able to do more. And then you might start to feel a little differently because you realize I'm engaged now and I'm actually making a difference. Again, that's my soapbox. I'm getting off it. The rest of it we're going to try to sail through because this is going to be plenty long as it is.
You just signed a minerals deal with Ukraine. It's a sign, it seems, that the United States is invested in Ukraine.
Well, I ain't playing all 9 minutes of this. Good Lord, I thought it was shorter than that. But yeah, Trump basically said, I'm not interested in running a third term. I shouldn't need to do that. There you go. Yeah, we did our soapbox and still managed that. But he did have a number of things that he talked about with her, and I want to share some of them. I think we've got a couple other over here, too. But Donald Trump truthed this out. I have been investigated more than any other person in the history of the United States. And that's 100% true. Like, think about what he's given up for this country.
I have been investigated more than any person in the history of the United States of America. I've been investigated more than the late, great, as I say at my rallies, Alphonse Capone. Alphonse Capone was a nasty man. He was the highest level gangster. And I have been investigated more than Al Capone, more than anybody. These people are evil people, and I won. And I'll tell you what, all I want to happen is for the Department of Justice and the FBI. Pam is great and Cash is great. I think they're two great people, but they're their own people. They want to do a fantastic job. And all I want to do and all I want to ask for is that they be allowed to do their job. I'm not telling them to do anything, and I believe I have the right to do it. I'm, in theory, the top law enforcement officer as the president. We went over this once before, and it turned out I was right. But I'm not looking to use that. We have two great people, and we have many, many incredible people under them, and I just want them to do their job and do it well.
I love the way he rolls. He gives people the power to be who they're supposed to be. And Cash and Pam both have certainly proved that they're worthy of this responsibility. This is pretty funny. He talks, at least half of this anyways, about how the Democrats are in total disarray, but I think the whole minute 6 is definitely worth the time. Check it out.
And you know what I can't name? I can't name one Democrat. I mean, I look at the Democrats, they're in total disarray. They have a new person named Crockett. I watched her speak the other day. She's definitely a low IQ person. And they said, she's the future of the party. I said, you have to be kidding. I don't know what they're going to do. And I really believe in a two-party system. Because it's good to be challenged. It's really good to have a two-party. You know, it's good. Being challenged is okay. It keeps you sharp. I don't know what they're going to do. They have nobody. Bernie's 87 years old or something. And, you know, Biden is the worst thing that ever happened to old people, because he was grossly incompetent, and I think maybe for artificial reasons. You know, he had operations and things, so maybe that's an artificial. But I know people that are unbelievably sharp, and they're older than 87. But I watch Bernie Sanders. He's a nut job, but he's still sharp. He's sharp as he's the same guy he was. He hasn't gone down. But Biden is really, he's the worst thing to happen to old people.
Yeah, Trump obviously dislikes the fact that Biden really screwed it up for old people because he's an old person. Trump is. And he doesn't want people to think that he's stupid like Biden, because Biden was uniquely stupid. I mean, a lot of old people, a lot of us know many old people that are not that retarded. You know, and like he said, maybe there's a reason for it, right? Like, I'm not trying to be totally mean to Biden, just partially mean. But I love the way he called out Crockett, by the way. I think it's powerful, one, because she is so egoist, and then she's on top of that. She's all of the DEI stuff heavily, right? Like everyone's a racist and all that, right? So she's so like just obnoxious, and she's all over the place. I don't share any of her crap really, because most of it's just meant to make you angry, and I don't even watch most of it because I don't care what she thinks. And I'm not about to give her a platform. That's where I come in. If you guys want to follow her, you can go, get on her Twitter page. And you're probably going to see all sorts of crazy stuff. But I'm not going to give her a platform. She is so angry. And when Trump attacks her like that, just say she's low IQ, too. Right? She wants to try to call that racist or something. I don't even know how she'll have fun spinning that. But the fact that he basically called her stupid in a nicer way is going to cause her to have to respond. And her responses can very easily and have already gone into illegal, inciting violence, inciting riots, inciting potential danger for the president. You're not allowed to do that. So I think there was a purpose to that as well. I don't think it was just as simple as many of us want to think. It's funny, California has revised their population growth upward, citing immigration surge. What's kind of funny is like Gavin Newsom's trying to make it sound like, see, no, everyone still wants to come to California. From people across this great nation and from around the globe want to come to the Golden State. Well, here's the funny part, the little statistic within this actual story that I thought was key. According to the State Department of Finance, the population grew by 108,000 in 2024, bringing the total to approximately 39.5 million. The key driver was an upward revision of immigration figures by 277,000. So they revised the inflation or the immigration numbers. And by doing that, they now show a positive growth of 108. I could be reading these numbers wrong. I think the way they're stating it or trying to make it sound like as well in 2024 alone. These numbers probably just came in 2024, these revised numbers. So yeah, they revised upward almost 300,000, and the population's now positive by 100,000, which means we were negative by 200,000+. And they had to add illegals, which don't count in the census, by the way. You're not supposed to anyways. California majorly does. That's going to change. I believe the next census in 30, we will have control. California's hopefully, I hope we can get our state under control by then. We'll see. I need a whole hell of a lot more people than just me trying to make noise about it. And I know there's a bunch. I hope we're going to get there. Thousands of Democrat victims trapped in South Mexico. This is what the Democrats have done, essentially. And this is why a lot of Hispanics are really pissed off right now. I've talked to a number of people. And one, actually, I'm not even going to be going to my favorite Italian restaurant for a period of time. Because one, I can't stand the bartender that works there. There's no way. So it used to be another person, and she put in her notice. I'm like, I hate that. I dislike the other bartender tremendously. And then I've had 2 weeks in a row where I don't even like the server dude that works in the afternoons. So it's like, what has happened to my restaurant? So I'm not going back. I'm a little pissed off. But this is why, though. This is where the anger's at. Democrats were told, or have been telling, all of these people, hey, we're going to make you citizens. Just come on, bring your friends, bring your family. Don't worry about laws and stuff like that. We'll figure it out down the road. Because they just wanted a bunch of votes. Well, these people are all screwed. And now that Trump's blocked the border and Mexico's literally blocked their southern border, now we've got a bunch of people that literally were planning on making these extended caravans that can't. And they're like, we don't know what to do. Well, you're not coming into our country. Sorry. You're poor right where you're at. You'd be poor up here. And no offense, but probably better in the big picture that you stay down there. We don't need to inherit all the poor people of the planet. There's better ways to handle that problem, first off, than bringing them all into your own country. We've obviously seen a rise in violence and crime. We're seeing all of our benefits are drying up quickly, and there's not enough for the people that are supposed to get them. So this concept of what the Democrats are doing is just absurd in every way, shape, and form. And now they're actually really the reason why these people are now trapped. It'll always be our fault, no matter what, but nah. Secretary Scott Bessent says President Trump has secured more investment in 100 days than President Biden did during all 4 years. That's true.
The president believes we can achieve more together. This is the abundant vision he has for the future. He wants everyone to be a part of it. Thousands of businesses are now catching the president's vision. Since he assumed office in January, companies have pledged to invest trillions into the U.S. economy. President Trump has secured more investment for our country in 100 days than President Biden did during all 4 years. Entrepreneurs, too, are starting to understand what the president is trying to accomplish. March saw one of the highest levels ever recorded for new business applications. Many of these men and women, like many of you, are grasping that America First is the blueprint for a more abundant world.
Hell yeah. Scott's getting better at this public thing, unfortunately. Not Jimmy Buffett. Warren Buffett is going to remain at Berkshire. And here's what's sort of funny. The second they named who the new CEO was, which obviously wasn't going to be Warren, but people wanted to know who, but they knew it wasn't going to be Warren. But the second that individual got named, what happened? Berkshire Hathaway's stock dropped fell 6.8%. Because ultimately, Warren's the dude that's been the investor champion forever. So he's quote-unquote staying there because, one, he should. Dude's brilliant. And when it comes to investing, his portfolio and platform, it's been very accurate. Politically, I fully-heartedly disagree with him, but the dude understands stocks. I don't know. I think tariffs is still a big, giant, weird thing because nobody alive really has messed around with tariffs. I think Trump has done a lot of studying and figures he could pull this off and understands business, the larger world, significantly better than many. I'm not saying better than Warren Buffett per se, but I think he understands it in a more unique way. I think Warren Buffett understands it from a more, mental kind of way, if you will. Trump knows it from a more rolling up his sleeves and being in the middle of it kind of way, So it'd be like, talking about a rocket company versus how to make a rocket, talking to Elon Musk, for example, right? Buffett's going to understand the how to run part really well, but how to build a rocket ship, which is really what matters most when you come to running a rocket company. It really does. You've got to be able to build a successful product and then keep it running, keep it affordable, right? Like this. So it's interesting. Just kind of shows a lot of stuff. Now, this move here actually pissed off the markets a wee bit. I'll tell you in a second who the main losers were, and it's like a direct attack to the Democrats, by the way, the deep state specifically, by the way. The movie industry in America is dying a very fast death. Other countries are offering all sorts of incentives to draw our filmmakers and studios away from the United States. Hollywood and many other areas within the USA are being devastated. This is a concerted effort by other nations and, therefore, a national security threat. It is, in addition to everything else, messaging and propaganda. Therefore, I am authorizing the Department of Commerce and the United States Trade Representative to immediately begin the process of instituting a 100% tariff on any and all movies coming into our country that are produced in foreign lands. We want movies made in America again. It's funny, when you ask people, most of the time they get the question wrong, but if you say, where are most movies made? Most people would be like, America. I mean, if you're, specific city, or are you just talking which country? And I'd say, which country? And you'd be like, America. Duh. Nope. It's India. It was India 3-1. India makes so many movies. And again, there's over 1 billion people, but India makes crap tons of movies. Crap tons of movies. So this devastating attack against the Democrats, against the deep state, I should say mostly. Maybe both. I don't know. I think Democrats are totally infiltrated and mostly part of the deep state, but yeah, I think there's a lot of good Democrats. Media stocks slumped, though. Netflix is down 2.5%. Why? Because they make a lot of their stuff in foreign places. Warner Brothers Discovery is down 2.7%. Walt Disney down 1%. Paramount Global down 2%. Roku down 2.25%. And Fubo TV fucked up beyond, something else. Other TV, 3% down. So, yeah, this is what happens. This is who it happened to. Again, you guys are invested in a lot of this stuff. That's the problem with 401ks and IRAs. I mean, of course, I'm going to talk about DRSlikesgold.com. Not yet, but that's my point, though, right? Like, where the group funds are, if you want to stay in stocks, which is not necessarily a bad idea, then I would say get somebody to manage your portfolio outside of your 401k. Because if you're in a money manager thing, they're going to put you where they want to put you. They're going to put you where Warren Buffett wants you to be. And as right as he's been, part of it's because how much money's been invested in those things actually makes a difference in the price of the stock as well. Warren investing billions of dollars or millions and millions of dollars actually affects the price of a stock. He knows that. He understands the power of his giant pile of cash. Bill Gates does too, to a large extent. So again, this war is not common, not in any way, shape, or form. And what we're being told, again, is mostly controlled by the deep state. And what we're being told by the good guys is honest, but is still withholding a lot of information because the deep state doesn't know exactly yet what's going to happen to them. They just see these things happening, and they death by 1,000 cuts. It's happening too quickly. They can't stop it, and it's very effective. There are a lot of people that have been fantasizing about how to pull this off for a long time, so it's happening. Now, this was an interesting thing talking about China. It is not at all surprising that as China's largest trading partner halts most imports, that'd be us, pain would be pervasive. And it is. In interviews with the Financial Times and via dozens of social media posts, workers shared pictures of quiet production lines or factory suspension notices, highlighting how the tariffs are starting to bite. Now, according to Radio Free Asia, protests are erupting across China. From Hunan Dao County to Sichuan, Suning City, and Inner Mongolian Tungliao. I'd hate my poor Asian friend to hear me just butcher her language. Like, she would correct me on all of these and it would be painful. Hundreds of enraged workers are storming the streets, blasting unpaid wages and yada yada. So people are pissed. Factories are shutting down. They've literally got whole people they're laying off. Now, this bothers me a lot, by the way, because you've got a lot of Chinese people that are being caught up in this malaise, much like here in the United States, right? And I don't know, I mean, if they, what happens when they're unemployed, but yeah, China's all about the CCP controlling production of everything, and right now they're being heavily hurt. The deep state is being heavily hurt right now, all over the place. What Trump is doing is destroying the deep state in Europe, in China, I think in Israel, Iran, but the Israel part's really questionable. I don't know. That's why they always say they'll save Israel for last. I don't know. We're pretending everything's groovy for the moment because we need to. Friend of my enemy is my, enemy of my, how's that go? Enemy is my friend, something to that effect. So, yeah. Chinese U.S. imports being converted to Canada amid trade war. So China's trying to ship stuff through Canada. If Canada does this, continues to do this, thinking that's going to just get the Canadian tariffs imposed, and we find out that Canada's playing a part in that, I'm reasonably sure Trump would tell Canada, look, your tariffs are now 145% as well, just like China, because now you're trying to pass Chinese goods through us. You're even making money on that. So here's what's going to happen. And China's not going to control Canada. This is going to be Trump stopping that. This is far, far more complex than most people are ever going to understand, self-included. Most economists, let's try that word. Most economists expect the Fed to keep rates steady and avoid explicit forward guidance about the policy path ahead. They're not planning on lowering the interest rate. Reasonably sure the economy's slowing down a wee bit. We already heard the revised numbers saying we're down 0.3%. Now, Trump's going to change this, and to a large extent, there's an individual, I think I've got the story maybe coming up here shortly. Yeah, it's not this one, but it's this one over here. We'll go ahead and cover it now. This dude has nailed everything. This legendary financial and geopolitical cycle analyst, words today, right? Martin Armstrong. He's back with an avalanche of problems coming to the world starting in 2025. Said depressions, defaults, debt crisis, and wars are going to sweep the globe, right? We're seeing it all happen. He predicted Trump would win in 2024 presidential election in a landslide many months ahead. Armstrong called for the huge crash of 1987 to the day. He predicted the dot-com boom and bust in 2000. He was spot on calling for the Great Recession of 08 and 09, and now we are heading for more big turns. His quote, "The last one turned on May 7th of last year. That was the same day Putin had his inauguration, and it was the same day a couple of Ukrainian colonels tried to assassinate Zelensky. From there, we are turning down into a global recession, which won't bottom until about 2028. Central banks started cutting rates right after that, and I think Canada was the first. It's going to be more of a depression in Europe, a very sharp recession in China, and it won't be as bad in the United States. When you create a debt crisis, that's what causes a depression. The stock market going down is the least damage to an economy." Again, unfortunately, one of the numbers we like to look at, but it really is less indicative of the strength of our economy. It really doesn't speak to that. Yet psychologically, to many, it does. Again, I still share it every day. It's important mainly because the 401k and IRAs are directly tied to stocks. Now, only roughly 8% plus people are in the stock market. So it is a little bit of a weird thing. Europe has trillions of dollars of unpaid debt. The leadership knows it. And if they don't have a war, the people are going to come after them. This is why they desperately need the Ukraine war. It was the only thing keeping Europe afloat and even sort of keeping them with allowing them to continue this control through the European Union rather than each country having its own sovereignty, its own economy, and its own control. That is failing badly. And they're not going to get their war. Trump knows that. And Trump's basically going to put them on the spot and be like, all right, you pay for it. Because we're not. We don't want the war to continue. We're happy with where things are right now. If you literally want to continue going to war, well, most likely Putin's going to walk all the way into Kyiv. Done. End of story. And then what are you going to do? What are you going to do then, Europe? Pout around more, put your hands on your hips and be all pissed off and huff and puff and blow the house down? What the frick are you going to do? Nothing is what you're going to do. Nothing. You don't have the ability to do a damn thing. The United States, and again, it's not that we are the greatest nation ever, but we got some of the freaking craziest weapons, folks. We spend, like the dude said at the beginning, 11 times the next 11 countries summed up, and that we spend more than. It's out of control, frankly. So, yeah. Stocks are down a wee bit, S&P, NASDAQ. I think that's where a lot of those types of stocks are going to be. This supposedly wiped off some of the, it was worse in the morning, obviously, but it wiped off some of the gains that we've seen. They're bragging about those. And again, I don't know if this is, what it feels like to me is we're slowly like fixing the parts piece by piece. So now the stock market was kind of rebounded. And then Trump hits it with the next one. All right, now we're going after the movies and Hollywood and all that nonsense. They're literally trying to dismantle the deep state. Not too quickly, because if we do, it will collapse the system. The system will just get crushed. And that's going to be a horrible scenario. I mean, oil's at 57. Look at that. Oil's breaking a lot of these smaller countries that rely on oil. This is, again, a thing that's destroying Iran specifically. I think it's one of the key people they're going after. But that's bad. Gold's up quite a bit today because the dollar has dropped a lot. So now the VIX is up a little bit, which is just people's, how they feel about the economy. And when it goes positive, that means people are they're more sketchy, basically. A high VIX is like a more sketchy approach or a more sketchy feel, less comfortable, thinking a recession's coming or something along those lines. A lower VIX is actually good. It's what you want. High VIX is bad. So VIX is up. Dow Jones is the only thing that's really is rising, whatever. Some of the money might be moving. Again, so it's just one of those things where you want to manage it yourself. You don't necessarily want to put it in someone else's hands. Again, this is a great article by Zero Hedge. Supposed to pay for it. Sorry, buddy. Paywalls suck. Over April, gold prices were up 5.3%, marking their fourth consecutive monthly gain. The move now means they're up 25.3% on a year-to-date basis. Can I say that again? First, folks, I just want to remind you, I have been doing my best to lead you as stoutly and positively and properly as I can. I know there's all sorts of people that might disagree, but just this year, it's up 25.3% gold as an asset. It's not going to stop going up because we've still got some crazy to go through. And the Federal Reserve note, something's going to happen to it. There's a lot of people talking about that in the right circles, not the normal circles. They wouldn't dare. We are going through a huge transition. I think the other stock they talked about that was doing really well, by the way, 2.0, was the European treasuries, not U.S. treasuries, although we broke 5% for a short moment in time, which was pretty decent for us. And that's a big thing that they want. So, folks, look, you're still in a 401k or an IRA. You can get out tax-free, penalty-free. I recommend you get out, or at least diversify some of this into something that's doing extraordinarily well, continues to do extraordinarily well, has gone up a crap ton over in the past 2-3 years. It's basically doubled. Doubled, basically. Gold is doing incredible. Silver's way undervalued too, by the way. At some point, that value is going to change. Paper contracts are going to dry up, however that gets fixed. The more of that you can get your hands on right now, the better. By the way, they're going to give up to 10% free silver just for diversifying out of that stupid system into something that's smart, which is literal physical gold. It's put in a trust, okay? And you literally can have it sent to you at some point after the effect. You're going to pay penalties. It's considered money. That's why they don't send the gold straight to you. That's the same thing as sending you the cash. And you're like, no, I'm serious. It's going to be invested, I promise. And they're like, yeah, not if we send it to you. Right? You're going to spend that. Right? So that's how that works with the precious metals. They put them in a trust. Physical metals. They literally procure actual physical metals, like stick your name on that thing or tube or whatever it is, and it's yours. That's yours. If you, for some reason, were like, I want to cash out one of the coins, they got the highest price buyback guarantee, and they're literally going to go to your vault, pop out one of your coins, put the lid back on, shove it back in the trust hole, and take that one coin and mail it to you or convert it or whatever. It's your physical metals. Up to 10% free silver, I think I mentioned, but it's still a big deal. DRSlikesgold.com. DRSlikesgold.com. If you qualify, I think really all you got to do is put in your 4 data points, hit this, get me my free report and coin, and you got like 20 minutes to call. Now, you may not have a 401k. You might just want some precious metals. By the way, they're a great provider. They got all sorts of suppliers. Highly recommend it if you got a few dollars. There's no minimum anymore, but if you got a few hundred with a few thousand that you want to get some precious metals, I highly recommend it. I've done that before. Great company. They're great with it. The DocuSign, it was quick and easy. I think I was done within a day. I think within 24 full hours, I literally had a tracking number with precious metals on the way to me. It was pretty awesome. These guys are awesome. They're just the best at it. Go to drslikesgold.com. drslikesgold.com. 4 data points. Give them a call within 20 minutes if you can. You're going to get some cool freebies. If you qualify and you don't call, but they're going to get in touch with you, they're going to try anyways, you get up to 10% free silver. It's a lot of good stuff going on. Get out of their system. Protect some of your wealth. Learn how you can. Your gold and silver kit's going to teach you about protection. There is a gold and silver IRA. You can also just convert some cash into precious because as we move through this, especially if you're still working, I highly recommend that. If you're still working and making money that way, yeah, I would invest some of that cash into some precious metals. I would definitely. It's just a good idea to carry over some of that, right? If you need it to pay bills, then no, that's stupid. Don't rob Peter to pay Paul, but keep learning and getting better at your skills. That's going to count too in the future. There's a lot of ways we work through this. This is about protecting wealth. And my friends at Goldco are the best at it. DRSlikesgold.com. DRSlikesgold.com. Get out of that stupid system while you can. DRSlikesgold.com. You gotta try to make it fun. Donald Trump, I'm just going to play this first bit. I didn't listen much further than that, but it was awesome because it was someone going off on Waltz, Mike Waltz, about how he must be upset and disappointed. And are you trying to replace him? Like the constant questioning, trying to get Trump to admit he made a mistake, and Trump ain't having that. So I want to play this part. It's kind of hard to hear the questioner, and then, I don't know, we might go a little further. I don't know if they say anything cool. But anyway, check this out. This was interesting.
Any questions? Any plans to speak with President Xi this week? No plans to speak to him, but China and our people are talking about different things. Yeah.
Why did you assign Waltz out of his position as a national security advisor?
I actually think it's a higher position. I want to know the truth. I think it's an upgrade. I think moving him there is an upgrade.
Mr. President, during the News Nation town hall, you said that you didn't make any mistakes in your first 100 days. Was appointing Mike Waltz as your national security advisor?
No, it's irrelevant. It's not a mistake or not a mistake. It's not a big deal.
So what
he was fine, and where he is, he'll do a good job.
What made you lose
I don't consider that. I didn't lose confidence in him. Why did I lose confidence? He's going to the United Nations. To me, I think it's personally, if I had a choice for myself of doing, I'd rather have that job than the other.
Did he resign on his own, or did you?
He didn't resign.
So what
I just moved them. There's no resignation. You people are so bad. You know, you're trying to make a big deal out of something that's not. You are so bad. That's why nobody watches you anymore. Who are you with? Who are you with? You with who? First. I didn't know there was such a thing.
Yeah, we're not going to go any further. But yeah, just that's that line of questioning. That whole line of questioning. That they're trying to paint him into a corner. Trump is, first off, he's really smart. Not just that, he's smarter than the average bear. And unfortunately, not in all cases, but most TV personalities are generally not that intelligent. Generally. They have personalities maybe, they're very attractive looking, they're able to read lines the appropriate way, at least when it comes to news, but they aren't necessarily intelligent. Trump is. And so a lot of these guys try to trap him into little corners, and he's just like, dude, I see you coming from like 800 miles away. Get out of here. Stop making smoke signals before you attack me, and then maybe, if you might get lucky. Here's some more of this. Are you looking for a new SecDef? Hegseth. Trying to paint him in a corner again.
Are you looking for a new Secretary of Defense? Mr.
No,
President?
not even a little bit. No. Pete's going to be great.
His job is safe right now?
We're doing a fantastic job against the Houthis, who like blowing ships up and watching them sink in the ocean. We're hitting them very hard. No, he's doing a very good job.
His job is safe right now?
Totally safe.
I think you said that already, sweetheart. Whatever Meet the Press chick's name is, right? Again, trying to paint him into a corner. Now, first off, if you're Pete Hegseth, how stoked are you to have that sort of accolade from your boss thrown on you, especially a boss of this level?
Who are you considering to be your more permanent national security advisor?
Well, I have a lot of people that want the job, I can tell you. It's, I mean, a lot of people say it really works in with what Marco's doing. But we have a lot of people. I'm going to be naming somebody, but we'll make I would say within 6 months. He would do the job permanently, but I think it's, it's an appropriate job.
Are you considering Stephen Miller? Are you considering Stephen Miller for that?
Stephen Miller's at the top of the totem pole. I mean, I think he sort of indirectly already has that job. You understand? Because he has a lot to say about a lot of things. He's a very valued person in the administration, Stephen Miller.
Again, that's another thing, too, because Steve kind of, I don't know, he comes off sort of, I don't want to say half-cocked, but I feel like quick to just take it up a notch. I like that, frankly. I mean, I do. But I think it's weird, and it's fun to watch, and it's, and I think it really bothers the different places that are putting him on camera, and I think maybe that's why he's doing it. But maybe, the purpose of the thumbnail was that story. Who knows? We'll see. This is pretty cool. Small Business Administration, Kelly Loeffler. She is talking about working with the House Small Business Committee Chairman Roger Williams and Senator Chris Coons, making headlines this week as they announced the Made in America Manufacturing Finance Act. It's a bill that seeks to boost manufacturing in the United States by boosting the capital available to small businesses through SBAs. Folks, if you're somebody that's on the slightly younger side and you have unique skills, highly recommend look into what it's going to take to create a business, looking into what it would take to get any of the tooling and stuff that you might need to be able to do the thing that you're really good at. You can get some small business loans. We're going to be doing manufacturing here in the States. What's that key thing that we're going to need that you have that ability with? Again, there's a lot of ways we can help. And getting the right people into the right jobs is going to be key to turning things around. So any of you guys out there that have this ability, in fact, it was funny, my very, very first advertiser was a guy that was helping people get business loans out in Arizona. And if you still watch, bro, I don't remember your name and I feel bad, but he was just super cool, just super sweet. I met him and his wife, and it was, I met his kid actually one time on a call, just super sweet. I made very little money with him. It was funny. It was like, I think of all the efforts I made, I think we got 2 sales or something, and it worked out to be like $100 or something like that. Every day I was talking about it for months. Anyway, it's pretty funny. Lessons learned a lot of things. All said, Kelly Loeffler is doing the right things. They're going to hopefully make that possible for everybody. Egregious we're saying. Yes, that's how you're supposed to feel. Senate DOJ caucus leader uncovers federal employees cashing taxpayer checks while doing union work. This is kind of weird. It's not like it's complex per se. It's just weird. So apparently in the fiscal year 2019, the Office of Personnel Management reported that federal employees spent 2.6 million hours on union activities. 2.6 million hours on union activities costing taxpayers $135 million, meaning they were doing stuff for the union, not for the government, for the union. And yet the government was paying them to do union work. $135 million, just another example of the fleecing that has been going on for a long time. Another example. U.S. is planning to end the International Space Station before 2030. Initially, that was the plan, was retiring it by then. Trump's new budget has us, I think, starting to pull back from that a lot already. This thing's very old, and what ultimately they should do with it, and I think this is most everyone's going to, the science is going to stop. No, which is the taxpayers no longer going to pay for whatever the hell weird science you guys want to do up there. Woo, plastic tubes and pots and pans. Anyways, Boingo Boingo, good song. Yeah, they're weird science. A lot of crazy stuff, a lot of crazy stories of what they might be doing in zero G and what they can possibly do in zero G and blah, 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 whatever. And by the way, zero G in the case of orbiting, just for you guys, in case you didn't know, it's funny is it's actually more free fall. It's not really zero G per se. Zero G would be like if you got far away from the planet. Nah, you'd be actually floating in zero G. There's no gravity affecting you. You'd be too far away from any parent, at least. Don't get mad at me, Larry. Apparently any large enough mass to exert gravitation on you, he's going to get so pissed at me because he's got this whole counter theory to gravity, and just don't get mad at me, Larry. Come on. I'm just staying with the normal right now, okay? It's like, come on. Don't go flat earth on me. But you're not actually weightless from the standpoint of being zero gravity because you're actually away from gravity. What it actually is free fall. So literally you're moving so fast horizontally, you're constantly falling to the earth, but you're moving so fast horizontally, you keep missing Earth. That's really, and it was a physics teacher that taught us to look at it that way, and it was like, oh, you're going so fast, you keep missing. And so that's how if you threw a baseball 22,000 miles an hour at, 180,000 feet or whatever, probably higher, maybe, I don't know, around there. I don't know if you're outside of atmosphere, but you threw it that fast, it would never hit the ground again. Now, granted, from a physics standpoint, it'd be hard to do. Whatever the case is, that's how free fall and all that zero G works. But that's the equivalent when you're doing free fall is zero G. That's how they do the vomit comet, right? And they train people zero G. Same thing. It's actually exactly what you're going to experience when you go to space. It's just an extended feeling of free fall. And I think you just eventually get used to it. I would assume at some point your stomach's probably weird, and then it probably gets used to it. And so it's like, yeah, we're just constantly free falling. You don't care anymore. It's boring. So anyway, yeah, they'll probably get rid of it soon. That's expensive, by the way, so that'll be good to cut out of that. And like I said, private ventures should take it over. I don't think I said that, but I was supposed to. Conservative Republicans have spent more than a decade working towards a wholesale rollback of federal regulations, and now they think they have the legislative path plans to make it happen. So they're working on this, of passing a bill to shred tons of regulations, actually put Congress in charge of the rules rather than these administrative agencies like ATF and stuff like that. So it looks like Congress is trying to pull back its functionality. Congress gave up a lot of its functionality. The deep state tricked most of Congress into doing it. I think they did it through money. If you wanted to get the deals, then you had to vote the stuff in, that right? So these things had rider bills that took away their rights. It's been a thing that's been happening forever. To say it's totally the members of Congress's fault, the ones that take bribes, for sure, those guys are bastards, because you just knowingly know you're doing something wrong when you're taking a bribe for it. Michigan House Democrats, they killed a chance for voters to decide on a constitutional amendment that would require proof of citizenship. Literally, it voted perfectly House lines, 58 to 48, 58 Republicans. They needed 60 to get the 2/3. That was the only way they could have passed it. So they were unable because there was 0 Democrats. And this is something that's quite amazing. We've got all sorts of examples of assholes on the Republican side that are happy to not vote with Republicans. And again, I just call them assholes. Well, Thomas Massie, I'm going to call him an asshole, even though I actually agree with him for the first time in a long time. today, and Marjorie Taylor Greene too. I'm sometimes on the other side of the fence with you, but it's weird that it just bothers me that I'm hanging out with you two right now. But whatever, we'll get there. I don't know how these things happen. It hurts. It hurts. I have to admit it too. I have to walk in shame. It's like wearing the same clothes 2 days in a row. You guys know what I'm talking about. 16 shorts vote. 16 votes shorts. Not even close. Still. To prove that you have to be a citizen to vote. Yeah, they took it off. They wanted to give people the chance to vote for it because it'd be too hard to steal that. Back on September 30th, 1996, the president, you may have heard of him, Bill Clinton. He signed the Illegal Immigration Reforms and Immigration Responsibility Act of 1996. Well, Section 302 is one of some interest. It's this bottom section here. Well, Section 302, it's inspection of aliens, expedited removal of inadmissible arriving aliens, referral for hearing revised. And it says in section I guess, I don't know if they'd say 3 or what's III, then it goes into section 1 of that, and then capitals III. So this friggin' thing's been indexed into the next page. But anyway, they say in here, in general, subject to subclause III, 3, whatever, if the officer determines that an alien does not have a credible fear of persecution, the officer shall order the alien removed from the United States without further hearing or review. Uh-oh, spaghetti-o. Especially if the officer determines. Officer doesn't need a court, doesn't need any of that. This has already been done. This was done a long time ago. What, now the courts are going to fight it? Right? No, this is your boy that did it. It's your boy. MS-13 illegal stabs Supermax prison guards in a premeditated attack. This is in Virginia. Wallens Ridge State Prison in Virginia. Yeah, 3 correctional officers at this facility were stabbed on Friday in a premeditated attack from MS-13. Now, they didn't escape or anything, but they're probably in a whole larger world of hurt, wondering if they're going to get helped back home as well, which I would assume is what should happen. These guys need a trip to El Salvador. I think they should just stick them on a plane, frankly, and do it, and then wait and see how long it is before the courts come knocking on their door. We told you not to do that. Do what? Huh? I don't know what you're talking about. 4 illegal aliens from Mexico are accused of being involved in an international human smuggling conspiracy linked to the Canadian border. Freaking Canadians. What are you guys doing, man? Alberta gets it, but what are you Come on. And by the way, England, is it England? No. It was Canada, and I feel like there's another place that was like they were heading conservative, like it was just everything was overwhelmingly show it, and then they had an election, and then that changed. Canada being one of them. Obviously, I feel like there's another one. I can't remember who they are. But it's funny, kind of, because I don't think that's actually true. I just think they went hardcore into cheating on an election because they had to, because they can't let people know how much they hate this craziness that's coming from the extreme left. In Canada, you're damn near European left up there, frankly. So yeah, 4 illegals have been charged with bringing all sorts of people across the northern border into this country. Trump administration is offering $1,000 to migrants who self-deport. That's kind of interesting. When you think about $1,000 cash U.S., that can translate into a decent chunk of money in any other country. And so that's not a bad offer. From our standpoint, that's not that expensive. So, I don't know. Interesting. I think it'd be cool if they said, and we'll fly you to certain locations. Like, there's certain countries we'll make flights to if that gets you closer. Like, I'd even be willing to do that for a while, right? Like, we'll offer it up for 3 months. Not forever, right? And if planes are empty, they ain't flying, that's for sure. But, yeah, I don't know. I think it'd be... that'd be something interesting as well. Who knows? $1,000 on top of that, and we'll give you a flight back. Huh? Not a bad deal. We'll let you take up to 2 boxes. DOJ is going to probe the Minneapolis prosecutor's office for racial favoritism with criminals. She's giving different treatment depending on race. At least this is what the assumption is, or the accusation that they're investigating. So we'll see exactly, but the Justice Department is looking into this. Hopefully they find something. This is the, General A.G. Pam Bondi and Assistant Attorney General of the Civil Rights Division, Harmeet Dillon, are kind of heading this up. So we'll see what comes from it. Hopefully something wonderful. House polls the vote on the bill I brought up yesterday about the Israel thing, which is super cool. Unfortunately, I agree with Thomas Massey and Marjorie Taylor Greene, and we've made friends a while back, not like in the literal sense, but she did her little thing where when she was talking about kicking the House Speaker out, Johnson, that really bothered me because that just seemed very destructive and it didn't seem to accomplish anything. And then Thomas Massey's doing just a number of things that have actually done nothing to benefit the overall movement and just actually kind of sows more dissension and more concern about him as an individual. So it pains me to say I actually agree with him, but he says apparently H.R. 867 has been pulled from the schedule for this week. Thank you for the vocal opposition on this platform. It was a ridiculous bill that our leadership should have never scheduled for a vote. I agree. I'm probably disagree, or I probably agree for different reasons than why you think it shouldn't have been voted in, but I'll say that at least, just to say, because I don't like Thomas Massey. This maybe is one thing he's done that's good. He needs many, many more to make up for his shittiness. That's all I got to say. And if you like him, oh well, that's your beef. That's cool. I don't care. MyPillow.com/OTF. They got the best kitchen towels and towels ever. I was just the other day, it was kind of funny. I laughed to myself because I talk about this stuff. Like they're the Bounty quicker picker uppers of towels, right? But they're actual towels. But like I had a glass door in the shower and I squeegeed it really good. But there's a spot right by the handle, the doorknob that I just can't ever get really, really well. I'm not going to get in there and try to be all perfect. It's like, screw that, man. I got a life to live. But I used the towel because the door looked so good. I'm like, man, just this one little spot was dripping down. And one wipe with the towel. This is even after I used the towel. Like I had used the towel. I don't need to explain anything further, but I wiped it and it took it all. It just one wipe, gone. Glass was perfect. Looked awesome. I don't know. The towels just work really good. Other towels I've had from other places, Bed Bath & Beyond. I even got some sort of fancy ones. Like like Sears or something, JCP. I don't know. I got them from someplace. They sucked. They'll smear it. Like it didn't pick up water. These do. They don't have all the chemicals and weird stuff in them that most cotton does. They got that Giza cotton. Again, just what Mike Lindell's doing over there is fantastic. In fact, I'm supposed to have my little segment with him this coming Wednesday. So that'll probably be on Wednesday's show. See what Mike thinks about what's going on in the world right now. But go to MyPillow.com/OTF. That's MyPillow.com/OTF. Take care of that OTF coupon code. It's going to save you some money all over the place. We've got toppers, too. You can get some more life out of a mattress that way if you would like. $100, basically. $99.99. Good number. Much better than $100. He's got his crucifix, if you like that. Sterling silver. They've got a men and a women's. They got two color patterns, too. They got like a black with the outer silver and a white with like a outer black or something like that. Looks pretty cool, the other one. That said, you should check it out. Dog beds, which I think, if you actually love your dog and don't have a MyPillow dog bed, I don't know how you say those two things in the same sentence. That's for sure. I would never do it. I would put a period between them. Be like, yeah, I love my dog. Yeah, I don't have a dog bed for MyPillow. Yeah, you have to say it like that because if you put them in the same sentence, it'd be like, huh? And you say you love your dog. These are two separate thoughts, obviously. You got pet blankets too. You got that new couch, old dog. Yeah, perfect way to get around that. Just put the pet blanket on there and be like, this is yours. And then the dog's like, no way, you got me something special to sit on? And you're just like, I'm just trying to keep all your eye boogers off my couch. You do some disgusting stuff. I don't know what happened to you as an old dog. I still love you, though. And then the slippers are the best. It's like putting your foot in the clouds. They'll love it. And then go to my store. Use the OTF coupon code there, too. They got a bunch of really, really cool products over there. I still think there's a bunch of cool ones. They got that cool-ass wrench. But they have the spray wax stuff. Man, I use it on my bike. I'm telling you, it works awesome. I wouldn't want to detail my entire car with it because there's easier ways to do it, but you've got like a spot that's kind of dirty, like it degreases. Like if you got like bug on there, you just spray it on there and then you can wipe off the bug stuff like detar, and then you give it another wipe with a clean towel and it's like been waxed. It's waxed, literally. Oh, it's friggin' shiny. It looks awesome. And it doesn't hurt the paint and all that as long as you're not using a jacked up towel. That's really what it comes down to. Incredible product. And it's not that expensive for what you get. It works very, very well. Like I said, my bike is electric. I can't really take it down and just power wash it. I'll probably not be able to get home. It would suck. Again, great stuff. Go to MyPillow.com/OTF. That's MyPillow.com/OTF. Best night of sleep you've ever had. It's going to shock you. He's even got a guarantee on the pillows, by the way. He'll send that email to you when you order them. Yeah, and that original pillow, it's the best, unquestionably. All right, this is kind of powerful, I think. Everybody right now on the left, I've been seeing this headline all over the place, how Trump is trying to cut Medicaid and Medicare. I've been seeing this commercial on YouTube specifically, which is kind of funny, and they just like drop it in on the shorts. It's kind of funny how they do it too, because I might not see ads typically because of my ad blocker. Anyway, this is a neat little discussion about, no, this is not what he's doing.
So the president has been very clear. He does not want to cut benefits for individuals on Medicaid, Medicare. He wants to create efficiencies and reforms. He shows an openness to work requirements. He wants to make sure illegals are not receiving public assistance through these benefits. But Shannon, there's also numerous other things that we can look at. We can eliminate bad tax policy and replace it with tax relief for working families. For example, the Green New tax scam that the Biden administration moved forward, there's hundreds of billions of dollars to eliminate there that could pay for no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, tax relief for seniors, and we're going to deliver on that.
Yeah, essentially, there's all sorts of things that Biden was going to make us get taxed for, or it would cost more money in the budget. By getting rid of those, we, to a large extent, pay for stuff, though we've got to balance the budget, which is one thing that I think Trump will actually pull off, by the way. But it might, it might take him a short period of time to get at least things situated around, fight off some of the legal nonsense, and to get our military where it needs to be, at least in his mind. And I think it's more the industries that are tied around military need to be kind of ramped up and going because of what I think we're going to be doing with them in the not too distant future when we learn not to kill each other. I think this is my kind of understanding of the couple steps ahead of where we are, how we get there and how that plays out. Not exactly sure. It's still being decided. You and I are making this thing up every day, but it is getting better. NIH is closing its experimentation labs that have been accused of brutally killing thousands of beagles for 40 plus years. Fauci was kind of blamed with this one too, and they removed the vocal cords of these animals when they were doing these tests on them because they would yelp and howl so much it was distracting and disturbing. Much, much nicer. Anywho, that's been shut down. Bush official claims U.S. built secret $21 trillion underground cities for rich and powerful to live in near extinction events. I think Catherine Austin Fitts, I think she found out about stuff, maybe even sort of indirectly. I think she gets way too much credit, frankly, but she's really good. She knows a lot of stuff. I'm not trying to diminish her. Don't get me wrong. But there's underground shit all over the place. All over the place. I mean, just if you've been digging into this at any length, even like the Dulce Wars are a fantastic. Dulce, New Mexico. That goes back to, I want to say that was when it happened was late 70s, early 80s. I think it was early 80s. I don't know. I forget exactly. It might have been 88 too. I don't know. I've got a bunch of little weird titles in my head, but we've been messing around with these underground things for quite some time. So she found out about one of the ones. Now, they did talk about the near extinction level event, which I think is an interesting drop of something because our magnetic field is waning on this country. And either A, we are going to have to do something like this. I think there's a B, which involves potential craft. And I think there's a C, which involves us either sufficiently raising our vibrations enough or getting enough people conscious at one time to be able to create a protection, if you will, around the planet. So we'll see. I don't know. Either way, we're going to be fine. At least those of us that are supposed to. I think this event, though, might be one of the things that kind of, I don't know how it divides. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff that you hear and you're like, I think that's probably supposed to happen. I've been hearing that in like a lot of different circles over the years. How exactly is always the question. And I've found that life typically works in life ways, and so yeah, trying to guess is just pointless sometimes. Again, well, the future's not happened yet. We have a lot of choices to make before we get there. So yeah, there's some underground stuff. They were expecting a lot of people to die. A lot of people that are rich too, they were buying properties like New Zealand and like old rocket silos and crap like that they'd probably live out. They've got filtration systems. They've got large amounts of food, It's not going to be the best eating, but they've got food and water and they can live there. So yeah, probably work out okay. Romanian Prime Minister is going to resign after the conservative candidate crushes the coalition. Apparently the guy that won is also the one that Donald Trump is fond of. So yeah, this gentleman, George Simeon, he will be, I guess, going after Nakuzer Dan. A weird name, but I mean, the last name's pretty cool, but outside of that, an accuser just doesn't sound good. Oops. A couple things with UK. So I wanted to give UK, I literally mean this. I think I came up with a brilliant idea for UK and maybe other countries that do this stuff. But you guys obviously are losing your freedoms. You're not allowed to talk about what's happening, right? So if you say anything that's hate speech or anything like that, you end up in jail, right? So here's the way around that. I literally, I think this is legit. You guys tell me I'm crazy. We'll find out. Larry, you can talk to me about this one. I don't want to find out about the gravity, though. I think he's probably already sent the email. It's too late. How many believed, let's see. Here it is. Yeah, talking in opposites. That's what you guys need to do. Think about it. You talk in opposites. You post in an opposite. And you literally would say something to the effect of, like, speaking in opposites, I love transgender teachers. Right? Literally. They can't. Think about it. From a legal standpoint, I want you guys literally to tear this apart. Speaking in opposites. What I actually said, what the opposite of it, well, it's implication. I didn't really say that, did I? It's maybe an implication in there, but to define it specifically, is that truly hate speech? I was just speaking in opposites. I think there's something to it. I don't know. You guys let me know. We don't need to do it here in the States because it's just confusing, but I think it could actually catch on in Britain, England, whichever. I think it actually could. Something to think about. Farage is hopefully turning things around. He is going to be the Trump, I guess, of you guys. That was always the question, too. And it was funny because initially Farage was like, yeah, I think I'm going to hang in America and, like, help with their politics and stuff. Like, that's a bad imitation of him, but whatever. And now all of a sudden he's running England. Kind of funny when you back away and act like, no, I'm not doing that. No, look over there. And then you're like, haha, sucker. And so, yeah, that's what happened. Putin says, the one thing that the West wanted, speaking of the deep state, that's what he means, is they wanted us to use nuclear weapons in Ukraine. That's what they were trying to do the whole time. Now, I think we've been talking about this. Shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. But Putin calling it out to the world is pretty fantastic. And he's 100% right. It's exactly what we were trying to do. So we could justify nuking him. Now, some of the theories I've heard make a lot of sense is Europe wants to break up Russia, but they're not going to be able to. They want to because there's so many resources there. They've been trying to kill Russia for a long time. Russia's not having it. And Russia is a large landmass, giant landmass. Half of Britons say they are unwilling to fight for the country. Yeah, people just don't believe what your government's doing. Speaking in opposites, folks. Speaking in opposites. Half of Britons say they're willing to fight. Speaking in opposites. See? Kind of funny. Though 50-50, I'd prefer better numbers to play with, but you get the point. You get the point, mate. Houthis report U.S. strikes after Israel vows revenge for airport attacks. So yeah, they got hit pretty hard by Israel after they attacked the airport. That obviously got a response. They approved plans to intensify Gaza operations. Also, the official says, like, literally go in and pretty much take over Gaza. Now, this is why they've had such a strict embargo on the area. They've been trying to make it sound like they're starving everyone, but I'm pretty sure that's not really what's happening or how it's happening. But I think what they've been doing is, literally keeping them from rearming. And they're going to take over this entire area, period. And it seems to be coming. Now, right, wrong, and different, that's just what seems to be coming. I think this part of the world has caused so much confusion in so many different ways. So we'll get there. We'll get there. Around 12 Israeli airstrikes have hit so far the port of Hodeida, as nearby area in western Yemen. I should just say, in the port of Hodeida. Just say it with confidence, even though it's like a few of you would be like, I'm from there? That's not how you say it. India gets Russian Eagle-S missile amid tensions with Pakistan. Short-range, shoulder-fired, anti-air. Pretty good stuff. About $300 million. Russia's getting some coinage. They've been working a little bit, too, with India. India also bought some French aircraft. I don't know if it was the Mirage or something else, but they bought some French stuff, right? And they're preparing for more. It seems like they should have already been prepared, though. So again, is this just people getting ready for the inevitability of what could happen and making sure that there's enough deterrence to keep it from happening? I hope. Kind of hope, because there's definitely a lot of escalation kind of crap going on. UK researchers are using geoengineering tech called SATAN. It's an acronym for Stratospheric Aerosol Transport and Nucleation. Now, they do talk about there being specific craft doing this. I also share this because I do think they add stuff to the fuel, but I also think they spray weird stuff too. I think sometimes they want different stuff specifically, and so they use craft that have spray nozzles to do that. There's a lot of speculation, even with, even like 107 and stuff, talking about what's going on in the atmosphere and how some of it might not necessarily all be bad, or at least some of it might have some positive attributions to it, while others might be more geoengineering versus, again, the stuff being in all the fuel, making that geoengineering, that would make more sense to me. I feel like when they put other stuff in the atmosphere, that's like when they're literally trying to do like your missile defense system or the potentiality of poisoning us, or that's when I think they're doing something kind of unique rather than just blanket climate nonsense. Who knows? But I don't think I need to play it. Though, by the way, I don't know if I have the story or not, but they're literally here it is. He's granted conditional bail, by the way, after appearing in a London court on a rape and assault charges. So they're letting him out on bail. I'm kind of hoping like he's able to work out sort of a deal where he can somehow escape and come here, but it would look guilty. So I don't know. That's probably why he wouldn't want to do it. But he's going to get steamrolled. Again, speaking in opposites, I don't know if it's going to work, guys, but I really worry about what's happening. This dude's not going to get a fair trial. They want to make an example of him. And yeah, England's kind of notorious for not being fair when it comes to stuff like that. Says American that never experienced you guys directly like that, but whatever. President Donald Trump said that if the deal is not reached by June 19th with TikTok, that he'd consider giving them longer. I don't understand the frickin' what, huh? Why have a deadline then, Trump? So I think this has more to do with tariffs and things along those lines and getting that worked out. Whatever the case is, Trump's willing to wait a little bit longer, maybe possibly because there's not an election immediately happening that TikTok can interfere with, whatever the case is. I mean, I don't like the idea of shutting down an app, that's for sure. I think that's kind of messed up. I wish there was a way that we could be like, all right, so here's all the data we know they're stealing, and then just let people know this is what you're doing every time you use that app, and then maybe they will be like, oh, I shouldn't do that. That's not a good idea. They're literally using it to attack us? That's not cool. U.S. judge rules that Apple violated a court order to reform the App Store. Kind of funny in that this apparently is from an injunction back in 2021. And they've just not even cared, not done anything different. In fact, it sounds like the court found out that they not only didn't follow the injunction, but they've literally done continuous stuff to make it more anti-competitive. So like the opposite, actually. So the judge, U.S. District Judge Yvonne Gonzalez Rogers in Oakland, is very upset with Apple right now. And I don't know exactly what she's just going to sanction them for money, but, well, at least the Trump administration gets this money, right? I guess that's a good thing. Or maybe California. I don't know how that works exactly. Probably should be larger than that, but district court's getting outside of their lane. Who knows? I want to remind you guys of a great place where you can get some merchandise. I got a couple of them for that matter, but truththread.shop is awesome. Got, of course, the Great Awakening stuff in there. You got the hat. It's the only place to get the hat right now, frankly. Got some cool mugs and stuff, right? Got some very cool gear. It's got on the back, it's got the digital American flag with the, I'm going to show the picture. I like this stuff. Pretty cool. The microphone, my favorite part, frankly. And then it's got the OTF flag on the back. So it's kind of cool. Kind of a lot going on. Obviously got t-shirts, got the sweatshirts, got all that good stuff, right? Everything's there. All the tanks, T's, all the different letters that go out there. So check those out. We've also got some very specialized stuff that's on the site as well. They got the 9/11 stuff. Never forget 9/11. It's an inside job. So again, a lot of information on the back talking about North and South Towers and you're basically wearing this to inform people. This is the point of this shirt, is to inform people. This is what's up. This is what happened. This is what you're probably not aware of. The same with the day that Trump got shot. Shots fired. 6/11, the fight, 'cause that was the time that he was actually shot on July 13th, right? But again, it's got the OTF flag on the sleeve, which is always good. But put on your full armor of God. This reminds people about Ephesians 6:11, right? Which, by the way, I've said many, many, many times. Don't take your armor off. Leave it on all the time. Sleep in it, shower in it. I wear my armor always. Never take it on. I put it on, I leave it on, right? It fits well. It was tailored properly. My armor of God is fantabulous, is what's going on. And finally, the final one is the 5G warfare. This one's pretty cool. This tells people where we're at in the whole warfare cycle, right? First generation is like bottles or manpower, uniformed soldiers stabbing each other at best, right? Second generation, third, fourth, fifth. This is where you are, right? Wars produced primarily through non-kinetic forces, information and all that good stuff. You get it. So again, a lot of good stuff. Go to truththread.shop, truththread.shop. See if I can find the Dan I'd Rather too. I've got a link for the Dan I'd Rather down below. Where is Dan I'd Rather? Dan space I'd. There it is, Bonfire. I forget where it is. So bonfire.com/Dan dash. Slash and a dash is different. A dash is a hyphen in my mind, right? So bonfire.com/Dan ID rather 160. And that's just if you guys want that one. This one's pretty cool too. Someone drew this. It was because of Mike. You guys remember him? And it was his idea. It said Dan I'd Rather, and then on the back, it's actually what I'm wearing now. I can't remember what it says. Woo! But yeah, I think it says on the Fringe or something cool like that. But again, very cool shirt. They got a couple different sizes, different types. They got the baseball shirt, which it's my uniform. That's all I wear. Baseball shirts everywhere. That's it. I want people to think I'm poor, and I love it. But all said, there's a lot of places we can go to get these things, but bonfire.com/Dan I'd rather 160. Good stuff. So check that out as well. Again, we're going to do a great music show. I've actually got some pretty good 80s music pulled and a couple weird, probably haven't heard in a while. It was inspired by Send Me an Angel, and it is still. That song's going to be in there, and it's a cool song. And I've got some of that kind of vibe to it. It's spun into a different kind of show than I necessarily thought it was when I first started, but I think it's going to be quite an enjoyable show for you guys, especially if you like 80s music at all. There's some really good stuff in there. And a couple songs maybe you haven't heard. I don't know. There's a weird band I found. I'm like, holy crap, I never heard of these guys, but dang, a couple of their songs were just really good. And I've definitely got one of those in there. And again, you might never have heard the song, but you'll probably actually catch yourself tapping your foot or dancing or something. We're just going to have a lot of fun. That's happening, of course, Friday, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. And we've got the Law of One that we do Thursday at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. I believe we're up to session 13 and 14 this week. A lot is going on, and hopefully you're being a part of it. Please check us out on my channel. Please subscribe and thumbs up if you can. It makes a big difference for all the algorithms and all that good stuff. And remember, the most important thing, where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.